Man,
It's late. I need some snack. I need a snack. Who
my favorite snack in the world, late night snacks are like, it's, y'all gonna hate me. Don't judge me.
Don't do
Them,
too
you know
much.
them
Don't make
little,
me
them
hungry.
little
Don't make me
cinnamon
hungry.
buns, them little
Cinnamon
cinnamon
bun
buns.
at nighttime?
Jesus,
I can't deal with that
I'm
type of
getting,
sugar.
I'm getting prayer. I'm getting prayer, and I'm getting delivered from those. But you ready to get started?
Okay. I mean, do we got minutes I can go get something, a snack? Oh, I gotta
I
wait till the
guess.
commercial break. I gotta wait till the commercial break. I'll wait till the
Commercial
commercial
break, commercial break, commercial break. All right, guys. Welcome to another episode of Into the Flow.
Here we are. Let's go. Let's do it.
I'm Pastor Harold,
And I'm Pastor Terry.
and on today's episode, we're going to talk about the Oscars. Everything. Oh my goodness, we had a time hearing
Did,
about the Oscars.
is that what we said we was gonna talk about today? We're gonna talk about the
Yeah,
Oscars?
yeah. We're
Okay.
gonna talk. You know, everybody want us to talk about the Oscars.
I thought we was gonna
So
talk about something else. Okay, today we could talk about the Oscars. We could do that.
okay, let's get it. Let's get it. Welcome to Into the Flow. Okay, welcome to Into the Flow, where we talk about everything culture, music. We're talking about everything from a biblical standpoint. We're going to talk about our life with Christ and how all of that intertwines. Again, I am Pastor Harold.
I'm Pastor Terry.
So there's a lot that happened over this week.
Okay, let's start with the
Primarily,
fact. Let's just start with the fact that we just scheduled last week. Okay, that we were going to
right.
have our episode today.
Did I know
Unbeknownst
what was
to
going to trend?
us, that it was
Unbeknownst to
going
us.
to go down.
Down. My God. Did it go down? Not only did we have an awesome worship service, let's talk about that first of all. We had an awesome worship service. The Lord was in the place. We talked about
Praise the Lord.
Elevate, and then we heard rumors of the Oscars, and somebody really elevated on somebody else.
Mhm. Or de-elevate. I mean, I don't know what
Oh
that
God.
was. I
We're gonna talk
mean,
about it.
that definitely isn't a higher movement right there. Oh my goodness. But yeah.
Man. So
Yeah, Sunday was amazing. Even just with even down to the weather, we still had a little break. It was
oh yeah.
cold. And then like,
Okay.
later down the line, kind of it was a
If
weird
y'all don't
day.
know, I'm on the West Coast, so I'm with the E campus. Y'all at the
Oh,
Dallas campus. Y'all had that.
oh yeah.
I'm on
So
the.
and I'm in the
I'm in
DC
LA.
area. So like
Okay.
I'm always going through Maryland, DC, and Virginia. That's my whole circle. Like so everybody else may say
Right.
DMV. I'm really in the DMV.
Oh, she actually in the DMV.
I'm actually in the DMV.
There's a distinction. There's a major distinction. That's what you have to understand. And DC
Exactly.
people, I'm sick of y'all because I drive. I used to drive through DC all the time.
So
And I right now, you know where when people ask me where am I from, you know what I'm gonna say? DC. Because that's exactly what everybody understands. If I said, yeah, I'm from Alexandria, Virginia, I know nobody understands that. I'm from the nation's capital, DC, because I drive there all the time. I'm like 5 minutes away. So I'm not about to go through this whole PG County, DC feud with you guys. I'm not
it
doing it.
depends on who you're talking to because the problem is if you live in Maryland, if you're not in Baltimore, you don't want to be considered from Baltimore. If you
That's a
live
fact.
on the Eastern Shore, you want to be clear, like I'm on this shore. If
Right.
you live in
Right.
PG, you want people to know you're from PG. But if you don't really feel like going through a whole bunch of explanation, you just gonna say I'm from DC. But if you know somebody's from Maryland or like the East Coast, you may say,
Right.
hey, like I'm right outside of DC. I say
Yeah,
something
and you know what the crazy
right
part
outside.
is? I'm from southern I'm from a lot of places. So I was
Same.
born in Chesapeake, Virginia. That's Southern Virginia. That's the 757. Stand up, Seven Cities. What's good? Tidewater area. Okay. So I was born in Chesapeake. Then I moved to PG County. We call it PG County, Oxon Hill, Maryland. Stand up. What's good? Bladensburg. Stand up. What's good? All that area. Then I was in Clinton. So my folks down there in Virginia used to say, "Oh, Harold lives in D.C." My uncle used to say Baltimore, which I always had to correct them. But if they said D.C., that's weird. I never corrected them if they said like D.C.
See?
That's interesting.
And so I'm from Maryland. And so I lived on, there's a huge bridge that separates them both. So I lived on the shore, born on the shore, still lived on the Western Shore, which is right outside of DC. Went to school in both areas,
It's a Western
But
Shore.
the side with Prince George's County, that's the Western Shore. If the Eastern Shore is
Ah,
don't do it. Don't do it. So the other
I
side is the West.
only heard of the Eastern Shore. I'm sorry, I only
So
heard of
that's
the
why
Eastern
the other
Shore.
side of the bridge is the Western Shore.
The Chesapeake Bay is the
Divider.
shore.
It's divider.
Ah,
I'm gonna get you
I
there.
never knew that.
Okay, well, yay.
Hey, Into the flow. That's what we here for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay,
So
so
what's go ahead.
no, go ahead. Good. Get started.
So I'm gonna wrap this up about the location. So it's crazy because if you're in Virginia, the Southern Virginia, that's not the DMV.
I
It's
mean, so you
really
gotta think about the touch
Northern
point is
Virginia.
a U, is a U shape. So you can hit
Pastor Terry always
Virginia.
dropping knowledge.
You can hit
Go ahead.
Virginia on the Eastern Shore side, like coming from Salisbury, University of
Hmm.
Maryland, Eastern Shore. That's
Right.
that Suffolk side, Virginia Beach on that side. And then
Back.
on the DC side, well, the Western Shore, that first part of Virginia you would hit would be either like your Alexandria, your,
Yeah.
you know, then you had to go through another 4 hours to get to Virginia Beach, going through the
Right.
DC side. But yeah, but it's a touch point. You can hit them on both ends.
Yeah. So I'm gonna give y'all my story of how I got stranded in the Eastern Shore, but that's for another episode.
Another time.
I don't want to hear that right now. But so the thing with the whole thing with we're talking about the Oscars, okay? The thing with the Oscars is a lot of things got overshadowed, right? Like so
Then
we
let's
know
start with
what
the first
happened with
one.
Will Smith.
Let's start with the first thing that got overshadowed. For me,
So
I wasn't aware that the Oscars was even on Sunday. How
thank
about
you.
overshadow
Thank
that?
you. How about nobody's really watching the Oscars anymore? At least where I'm from. I'm like,
I didn't
so
even
that's
know it
why
was on.
immediately.
I missed it.
So my immediate thought was that this whole thing was staged because the Oscars needed a boost in ratings,
Exactly.
unbeknownst to me. Okay, unbeknownst to us, right? That's our word today, unbeknownst. But anyway, there's a lot of things that got overshadowed. Number one being that the Oscars was on. You're right about that because I had no idea. I said the Oscars. Me and my wife was sitting on the couch. She was like, "The Oscars is on today."
No, no, no.
Okay.
Here was the thing. It was, oh, I heard that Will Smith just smacked Chris Rock. My response was,
Where?
where? I said, where? I'm like, where
Where,
they at?
when, and how?
On
How?
the
Where they at?
Oscars.
Got a party?
I was like, now? I was like, it's
The Oscars is today?
totally missed that. I don't remember seeing any advertisement of that, like at
No,
all.
none.
So
I heard rumblings about it, but yeah, no advertising, none. So
and I think also for me, like my TV watching is a little different. So I'm not watching always like regular TV.
mm,
Like I'm not watching the news. So I'm watching programs. You know what I'm saying? So I
that
have the
is a
shows that
great
I
point.
watch. So I'm not like watching like regular TV. So if it doesn't pop up in
Yeah.
a banner or advertisement, like I won't see it. Like and I
So
try to stay out
what
the news.
TV do you you got a smart TV?
Yeah. I mean, who has a dumb one?
You got like do you see she getting smart? Okay. Do
I
you
mean,
do you have apps that you usually watch from? Yeah,
Yeah,
same here.
absolutely.
So yeah, we don't really catch. I
But
catch
even
reruns.
even my cable, you still go to your programs on your cable. You know what I'm saying? You can watch
Yeah.
live TV, but then you still got the option just to watch your programs. So that's what I do. So you
Mm,
don't get the
yeah.
commercials. You know what I'm saying? You don't get a
Right.
lot of the commercials.
Yeah. I don't watch a lot of TV like I used to. Come to think of it, I watch like I watch TV. I would say that I watch shows, but just like how we used to back in the day. You used to channel surf. You used to watch whatever came on. Now we have so much control. We can watch whatever we want to watch. I don't really watch
Totally
live
true.
TV like that.
I don't
Yeah.
I don't watch live TV. It would have to be something really important, something like major going on for me to even like be in the live. But I don't even go on that joint on purpose.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I
But
be
no.
watching Family Feud. That's about it. Family Feud is a household staple. We love Family Feud. So if y'all see me on Family Feud, just know it was a goal of ours.
It's a go.
We're getting it done this year.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, the Oscars, a lot of winners got overlooked, right?
Yeah, I mean, like you wanted to educate me because after catching the clip, I don't know what happened next. I mean, I do know he
Oh my
won.
god.
So that's why I said I didn't know we was gonna really talk about them on because I didn't get a chance to look it up because I don't know because
Well, it's my turn to educate Pastor Terry. She educates me all the time. Let's do it. So this is what happened directly after that whole situation. Okay, I don't know
oh
if everybody knows Questlove,
yeah
but
no
Questlove's he had a documentary come out called Summer of the Soul, which was spectacular. I heard rave reviews about it. I didn't get a chance to like watch the whole thing or watch part of it,
I
but
watched that too. I
man,
did watch that. That was
it was a
amazing.
big moment. I mean, you guess who's in the cast?
Maybe that's why. Oh, that's right. Because he was supposed to be queuing up to present for this, like right before
Yes,
he got smacked. Uh,
yes. Wow, that's
David Ruffin
crazy.
wouldn't have it. He wouldn't be having this.
So David, so it was a documentary about like pretty much it's the Black Woodstock. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much
Definitely
that.
encourage
So
you to check that out. Like, have some time set aside. Like, it really takes you through a whole time and era. And if you blink, you'll think you're in 2022 because a lot of the people look the
sheesh,
same.
them styles they always go back to the styles,
For sure.
always replicates. So there was a lot of winners, a lot of losers that, excuse me, I wanted to win. So of course King Richard was up for Best Picture. As you know, Best Actor went to Will Smith. And check this out. It was his first. Was it his first Oscar for Best Actor?
Yeah, that was his first. Definitely his first
First one.
for actor. I don't think he's actually ever won an Oscar because I think that's what prompted him to boycott in like 2016 because he did
Right, because he wasn't even
Concussion.
nominated.
He wasn't
Yeah, he
even
wasn't even
nominated.
nominated.
Yeah, at that
So
time.
2016, and we're going to get into the backstory and everything like that, but pretty much of Chris Rock and their history with the Smiths. But pretty much, this was his night. This was like set up to be Will's night, and
Exactly.
we're gonna do a deep dive as to like you know both sides and everything like that. But that slap really overshadowed, in my opinion, his
You mean
night. This was his
eclipse?
night.
Eclipse. There's no
Eclipse,
shadow. It eclipsed the night.
eclipse.
Totally.
It's like he should be plastered all over different screens. And granted, the world we live in, I don't think he would be in this light had he just won. It wouldn't be all over the place like it is now. But because he slapped Chris Rock, negativity runs wild faster than positivity.
So
You know
on
what I
the
mean?
pause
So
on that. So why is it that if he won, it wouldn't have been trending as much? So why
that's
is
a
it
great
that
question.
it wait until something super negative comes and then you're trending? You know, people can say the same thing about even Denzel Washington's win. Like,
Hmm.
because he didn't win for other movies that were, more positive and whatnot. But the one that
Right.
they wanted to
Like Malcolm
sing,
X. Oh my
yeah, I
God.
mean, but they didn't want anything that they wanted to sing his praises on was about something that was a
Training Day.
negative, you know?
Yeah.
Even though I love Training Day. And,
Classic.
I definitely love Training Day. I still was surprised that he won for that movie, because I just seen him in like just some phenomenal other movies and tell some great
Right.
stories, impactful at that. So, I mean, and this is a weird thought, but it's also very strange when you see people online and people are giving them a lot of accolades, and then that one
Hmm.
person that says something negative, that's what people like focusing on. They're like going
Yeah.
in. I'm like, hey, you just passed 100 other people saying you're amazing,
Exactly.
you're beautiful, and then the one troll that comes out and say, I think she fat. They go in on like they start going in on the fat first, fat comment. But
Right.
sorry,
I forget who said the quote, but I'm gonna look it up. But it's something to the point of we naturally gravitate to negative. Like we eat it up all the time. We spend more time with the negative than the positive. You know, because it's just easy. I guess. You know,
I'm gonna
but
say
we're
this.
here to change the narrative.
I'm
You know,
about to
we
say
tried.
that.
Yeah.
Change my appetite. You said people eat it up. I want to
Oh,
change my appetite.
talk about that real quick
I
while I
want to
look up this
change
quote.
my appetite. If that's what gravity, I'm gonna train my mind to think other and resist. It's
Yeah.
not easy, and you're not gonna get it right all the time. Goodness gracious, we got a poster child
Yeah.
for that now. Because that was out of character for Will. You're not gonna get it
Oh
right every
man.
time, but for the most part, try to resist.
And
Try.
a lot of people saying it was a wrong time. I mean, I guess we're gonna get into. Let's just get into it. Let's talk about Will. Will slap Chris Rock. It's evident. It's all over the place. But here are our takes. It's like and this is the statement. Humans have what is called a negative bias because we're evolved to react to threats. Um, like Google, humans are pattern discovery machines. When something stands out like a threat, our minds highlight it. So it's almost like it's a fear response, or
It's like an
it's a
alert.
neck. Yeah, it's like an alert for survival. So we naturally like a car. You ever see like rubberneckers? They always slowing down traffic, and then you end up looking. You like, what was that? I was because we naturally gravitate to a car crash or a
That's
fight.
nosy.
Somebody
That's called being nosy. Old people call
exactly
that signifying. Worse than stealing.
signify. I can't stand a rubbernecker, man. Oh, before we go into Will, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
King Richard was an amazing movie,
I ain't
and
watched it yet.
I'm gonna watch Summer Soul, and you gotta watch King Richard because
Okay. I will.
it was really
I didn't.
and like I was telling Pastor Terry in our pre-show uh, draft, I was talking about like how this was set up to be Venus and Serena's night too. Because
Yes.
when you take into consideration the performance from Beyonce, like with that whole Compton turnaround on the tennis court, I mean, it was just epic. So,
Yeah.
um, but my girl, she played the mother in she played Maddie Moss Clark, and we did a review on
Oh,
Maddie Moss Clark. Remember that? So
yes.
Ajane Ellis was up for Best Supporting Actress. I really wanted her to win. Um,
She is amazing.
yeah, she's amazing, man.
And,
She's
and
just
you know what's so funny about her is that the other movies
it's
that I
Ajane.
remember her playing in before, she was like the wife in Men of Honor. with Cuba Gooding Jr. And she was like very
No,
quiet and mild speaking. You remember that? With
I don't.
Gooding Jr. and oh my gosh. Is it Robert De Niro? I think it was Robert De Niro when he was in the army.
Mm,
That was like kind of based off of a true story, and I believe Cuba
okay.
won an Oscar
Yeah,
for
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
movie.
yeah. I remember
You
that
know,
movie.
so I'm like so disappointed. I mean, I'm glad she was even in the running because she didn't have like a large part in Men of Honor,
Yeah,
but she's always kind of been around those type of like
right.
movies and whatnot. So I mean, in the range of what she did in the Clark Sister movie, I mean, she transformed into that
I wanted her
phenomenal
to get an
woman.
Oscar just for that. I
Oh
wanted her to
my
get an
goodness.
Oscar. I wanted her to get an Oscar for King Richard, but I'm like, can y'all throw in there that she was Maddie Moss Clark?
Oh my
And that's a
goodness.
niche. That's a niche character that not too many people can play.
Not even okay. So absolutely, that's correct, right? And then you also got the story of Maddie Moss Clark, who also
Hmm.
did not get her just due, when she was alive. Like she was
Right.
just a trailblazer, pioneer. I mean, she pretty much developed an entire sound, let alone the legacy of
Oh,
her phenomenal seeds, the Clark sisters.
exactly.
I mean, that has shaped every one of your
And J
favorite
Moss.
hold on. Every one of your favorite R&B singers and pop singers got it from the Clark sisters. And that's
That's a
beyond
fact.
color. That's
That's
beyond
a
color.
fact.
If you hear a singer that kind of riff on a up or a down, they got it from them Clark sisters. So I mean, her music transcended gospel music. The
Right.
Voice, Whitney Houston, her sound based off of the Clark sisters. Every single one of those women, Mariah Carey, Clark sisters, you
Come
name
on.
it,
Come on
you
here.
name it. If they can sing, and they can sing, they definitely a Clark sister. If
Who's
they
that?
can
I'm thinking
sing,
about
they
that because
they
you said sang.
aspire to. If they can sing, they
Momo.
aspire to.
Lil Mo. Lil Mo. She said
You said
sang.
sing. Oh, all of them.
Yeah.
So everyone, and
Yeah.
that's male, and that's males as well.
That's a
So
fact. I don't hear nothing but facts, Pastor Terry saying. So, but yeah, so I wanted her to win just because of that, and
yeah.
that goes along the same lines, like you said, with just give people they just do, man. I mean, you can't hand out all the awards, but I mean,
But why not? Because I've watched other Oscar moments where
I think she
movies
got an
did a sweep,
NAACP.
huh?
Right.
They they swept on song, supporting actors. So I don't want to say that it can't happen. Why not? It can.
No, 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 no. What I was saying was like for two people who can't get the same award. I mean, you can only give out one award. I know you could
But
probably have
no,
a tie or something like that.
that best actor was for the men. There's still a best female award as well.
Yeah, supporting actress. Hold on one second. Supporting actor. She was up for the supporting actor. What I was saying was like because they have best actress category. But
Right.
for supporting, it's only one trophy that can go out, right? And I'm sure in West Side Story, Ariana Du Bois probably deserved her award. I didn't see her performance,
I already told you
so
I didn't see it yet. I'm gonna watch it though. I'm gonna watch some of them, but
I don't know if I want to watch West Side Story. I mean, I've seen the original, so
true story. I liked it back in the
yeah.
day though. When you're a jet, ba-da-ding, da-da-da, da-da-da, ba, ba, ba. I like all the music.
One of the so guess who won for best costume design? Thank you for your musical representation, though. That was beautiful. Guess who won for best costume design?
um, ooh,
You gotta guess.
I don't know because I don't even know all the movies. I mean, King Richard.
Okay, okay. So you got Nightmare Alley,
Okay.
Dune, right? West Side Story, Crying, uh, Serino. whatever, Serrano, um, and Cruella.
Cruella.
Ding, 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 ding. You
Dang.
won.
I remember seeing her hair. I did see. I never saw
Man,
that
that was a
movie, but
yeah,
I did see the preview, and I remember seeing the hair. Like, oh, she had the look. That was spot on. So yeah.
yeah. Them clothes was like dope too. Best film editing. I didn't even know this was a category. Best production
Now it's
design.
different now.
That's
Yeah.
dope. Yeah, best sound. Let's see. I think Beyonce didn't Beyonce win an award
Mm.
for song.
For what?
Let's see.
What song?
I was Terry saying, I don't know for all of this stuff. I know you didn't watch the Oscars. I
I feel
didn't
like
either.
I
I
just
don't
want to answer
know.
you. I don't want you to think I'm not listening.
Hold on. Oh no, she was nominated. She lost to Billie Eilish. Yeah.
So she was in there. Oh, but how about the fact that that's another thing. Billy dodged one. Cause child
Gosh, man.
had he not got smacked. I don't know what your
That
speech
beehive.
was going to include. You want to rumble with the bee?
Y'all gotta chill, beehive.
I don't have nothing to do with that. That's them people business. They do what they do.
Mm. So the Oscars. Pause and pause.
The pause and the pause
The pause. The pause. Yo,
and the
Pastor Terry is hilarious. I don't know if y'all know, but this is a comedic genius. She wrote in here pause and pause. Like, I'm gonna put them pause on you. So let's talk about Will Smith
okay.
pausing
The part that I
and
did see of the Oscars.
smacking Chris Rock. The part that everybody saw. Okay. So
Could they say the smack that was heard around the world?
the smack that was seen and heard around the world. So let's just give the backstory a little bit, Pastor. Let's go back to 2016.
Okay.
Because a lot of
Let's do
people
it.
are saying that's where this whole energy kind of morphed, right? So 2016, can you share light on what
No, no,
happened
go
around that
ahead. Go
time?
ahead. I'm not gonna stop you. Go ahead. Go ahead. 2016. Go ahead, finish.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but because I'm a little fuzzy with the details. Okay, there was a boycott where Will was not nominated. That's where you get the Oscar so white type thing, right? Will wasn't nominated for Concussion. I don't know how many people was excited about Concussion, but I think it was a real theor theoretical. What's the word?
I'm not sure
The-
what do you I don't know what you're trying to say.
theatrical performance. It was a real high quality theatrical performance from Will Smith. Okay, and he believed that he should have at least been nominated for an Academy Award, and everybody was, saying this Oscar so white and everything like that. So everybody from Jada Smith, who else was boycotting? We can look it up, but a lot of people was boycotting. And Jada said, and at this time, Chris Rock was slated to host, like he hosted this Oscars, and yeah, he declined her invite to uh to boycott the Oscars, and he had a joke to on stage at the Oscars referencing Jada and saying Jada can't even get into the Oscars. So why would I boycott if she can't even get in? Her saying she's gonna boycott, that's ridiculous. He said it's a joke. I'm not gonna repeat the joke. Okay. Because it was a lot. Somewhat Rihanna, right? But anyway,
Yes.
okay, so let's fast forward to now. So Will Smith, I think too, Pastor Terry, him playing King Richard had a lot to do with what he did that day, because he even referenced King Richard in his speech. Okay, so everybody's seen the clip. If you haven't seen the clip, pretty much Chris Rock was on stage joking. He made a joke towards Jada Smith and said that he's excited about G.I. Jane 2 coming out because she and I didn't get the joke at first. Did you get the joke at first? Did you understand it? I didn't until
Not the
after the
first
fact.
couple of. I mean, it wasn't that far after, but by the time the Rumble happened, I was like,
Yeah.
because I was like, what does that mean? And I was like, that's whack. And then I looked at Jada like, oh, he said it because she bald. Like that was my take on it. You know
Uh,
what I'm saying? But when he first said it, I was like, is she in G.I. Jane too? Like, is that
that's what I called
like?
myself. I called
I was
myself
like,
looking
what?
at previews. I was like, I didn't hear that movie. Like,
That's what.
you
So
know.
and then
So
so then I looked at it and I'm like, she got the green on. Then I was like, oh, he calling her
yeah, I
because
didn't even
she
say I didn't
bald.
even see she
So
had
that was
green
before
on.
he jumped. That was before he jumped up there. So by the time he got up there, I'm like, okay. And then I thought he was mad, right? But then when I saw him ball his fist up, but then he hit the smack. So that's what it made me think that okay, maybe this is staged because it was loud too.
Yeah, I thought it was staged too.
So, but
I
hold
like
on,
I
before
said in the beginning.
go ahead, like you said in the
So,
beginning.
so Chris Cross, I thought it was staged
Crisscross.
because so everybody stop. Chris Cross. Everybody got watching the Oscars, so I thought it was like a ploy to get more ratings. I just that's just what I thought, and I even end up looking up like G.I. Jane. I'm like, is she in this movie? Like G.I. Jane 2? I was like the '90s, but it was a poor taste joke. But anyway, so Will got upset. He walked up on stage. Chris Rock, Chris Cross. Now you gotta be saying Chris Cross. He certainly got crisscrossed. Okay,
Crisscross, double
Chris
cross.
Rock got crisscrossed. He said, "Wow!" like
You sound just like him.
just smacking her across the world. Yo, that is crazy. He said a GI Jane joke. That was light. So I don't think so. Then he smacked him and he said, "Don't you talk about get my wife's name out of your mouth."
That's what he said,
And he got
and he was
you can
loud.
see I've been there before. I wasn't as upset before, and then I just started getting more upset and more upset. You know, I've done that. I've gotten upset like that before.
He said it with his chest.
So yeah. Then commercial.
Okay, so okay, going back to the 2016, right?
Uh-huh.
I think like one and like something that's kind of overlooked was that a lot of people were, I believe, it looked like they were contacted. You know, there was a public plea, but then
Mm-hmm.
there was a contact. You know, outside of that, saying, "Please join us in this cause to boycott
Right.
on these grounds." And the
Mm.
fact that that was made public in a joking manner, you know, once he got up there, I think that part also not only just kind of like it lessened the cause of it because even though Jada and Will were um
I'm sitting here. Hold on one
boycotting
second.
for their because you're it says looking for phone.
Yeah, I know.
Um okay, even though Jada and Will were boycotting for because they were snobbed and they didn't do that for anyone else because this isn't the first time that the Oscars had been a whiteout, you know, according to them. You know what I'm saying? So of course it was really highlighted because they were not in the position they felt they should be, right? But
Right.
that still didn't mean that there wasn't a cause. It still didn't mean that it wasn't equality across the board. It still didn't mean that there wasn't any diversity. So the boycott was definitely necessary. I feel like it was necessary,
Right.
but I didn't feel like it was in good. Was it appropriate for him to get up there and give a joke and like downplay the cause? I thought that was unnecessary and it was petty to me even then.
Right.
I was like, why even bring her up in that manner? Now you discrediting what you already know is like a real issue. And so I think it was almost like having a private conversation with somebody. Then they get out there in front of mixed company and start talking all
Mm-hmm.
crazy. So I think that was like,
Right.
oh really? Oh, that's how you feel you want to go there. And then you roast her on top of that.
Mm.
So I mean, I'm not saying he's Martin Luther the King, but that's who you have
I
to
listen to that.
but that's who you have to compare it to as far as a boycott is concerned. So that's like,
Right.
okay, Martin is calling people, hey, we're boycotting, we're not riding the bus. And somebody says out loud, nah, I'm riding the bus and I'm going to tell all the white people what y'all doing and that y'all want me to do that before you start the
Yeah.
boycott. So it's
It's
like,
so it gets deeper. It gets deeper than
it gets
just
deep,
entertainment.
on that standpoint. So that was
Yeah.
like, so I'm sure it's always been like some ice between them. Period.
Right. Yeah,
And
and
I
I get
think
that he's a comedian,
it's
but
on the surface too.
yeah. So I mean, I get that, but do you think that Will could have handled that in a better way or a different way? Or
It's
do you feel
funny.
like at the time it's like it's whatever? I'll give you my take after you.
I mean, so it's interesting because like hindsight is always 2020. And
Hmm.
anytime we're ever in our feelings, usually it's not going to be a good outcome.
Right.
um Lately we've been talking to the youth about wisdom, um and we've been talking in like Proverbs 8 and 33. Like that's like one of our memory scriptures, and for our basis of our discussion when we're just talking about this wisdom, God's creation and everything. And one of the things, if you notice in the creation, in God's wisdom, is the patience and time that he took and being really
Mm,
strategic in how he moved and how he
right.
created. So in thinking of that in a conflict situation, the first move is probably not the best move. I know
Right.
I have not always, responded the best today, yesterday, 3 days ago, probably to be exact, or or even 3 years ago, whatever the time may be. Which one of the things that's different is that I'm not on TV, or a
Right.
world star at this time. Prayerfully not, but for all of us, I think there are definitely times that we think we may have responded to a situation that we really felt justified. We probably were wronged, but our response to it overshadowed the wrong that was actually done to us. Because now I've
Mm,
created a more um negative situation on myself, you know, and I've had that happen to me, like even like being younger, like being wrong in the situation, but because my reaction was not want to say worse, but it was more visible than the wrong that was done to me. I ended up taking the brunt of it. So
right.
could he handled it differently? Yes. Could he have stood up and shook, like stood up and looked at everybody and said what he wanted to say? Like, to be clear, my wife is suffering from blah blah blah. Let's go, baby.
Hmm.
We can leave. Could he have done
Yeah.
that and walked out? Or he could have just stood there and meme mugged them for the memes because they would have came. You know,
I think he just felt in the spirit. I just need to smack him.
I think I feel like also when he got up there,
He
like
know what he
I'm
was
gonna
gonna
say,
do.
I think he knew what he was gonna do, and then it was like, I'm up here now, I'm in too deep, but busted, I'm gonna get it.
He was just so close to that stage. It's almost like every
Mhm.
troll. Yeah, y'all ever seen the trolls in your comments or the trolls all online? And you like, man, if I could just get. He was a real life troll to him. He's like, this is for every troll that tried to say something I couldn't hit him.
Okay, and then and here's another thing, like on the Okay, here's another conspiracy theory, and I'm gonna give it to you. You ever see his
Dun,
movie
dun, dun.
um Focus? The one when he was like betting on I, I only seen pieces of it, but it was him in this he was like really really smart, and he was like betting on stuff, and he was like winning a lot of money, but it was called Focus. Okay,
Mm,
so it's one part in the movie where
I
he's
think I
at a
remember you.
football game,
Understand.
and he's like
Hmm.
baiting this guy there in the box, and he's up in the ante, and he's losing, and then he ends up betting like say $10 million off of something
Mm,
really weird. Like pick a number on the field, and if I guess the number, you give me $10 million. And the guy, because he had been losing, was like, "You're crazy, but I love it," because he's like a billionaire, whatever. And he looks out in the field and he picks a number, and Will Smith character guesses the number, and he tells the girl how he did it. He said they had been programming him to think of that number the whole time. So what they did was like it was the number was 55 if I'm not mistaken, and they had put fives in the chandeliers. They had everybody with the jersey five. Every like he took a cab. The cab had like 55 in it. So like subconsciously, like he had been programmed like for a way of thinking before he had even entered the stadium. So by the time
okay.
he got out there on the field, because he had been seeing 55s all day, as soon as he saw that jersey on the field, it's he was like, that was the number he picked, right? I
Mm,
sometimes also think like, certain times we were primed, like somebody's been like plucking them all day. Like, you know, if they had to send you a car, your car was late. If you were supposed to sit one place, they had to keep moving your seat. Yeah, that would be right.
okay.
Um, they missed up your tickets. They had to move you here. The room is hot. Somebody else had some little chatter. So by the time you get to your seat, you already ready. And somebody said, Chris, if you can push him to the edge, he looked like he ready to go. You know what I'm saying? Like you just never know. And then there's
Mm,
also the other wild card of there's a spiritual aspect to it as well.
right.
Because it's
Right.
definitely it very well could have been what someone is calling a humiliation ritual. People do that, to be a part of these societies. There's also just opening doors for spirits to come in, and you
Yeah.
make just crazy decisions and choices. Like it's all that kind of stuff as well. But their priming part is also could have also been a part of it as well. I mean, they could have used
True.
something really much against him. And I was thinking the same thing with Chris Rock, because my whole thing was I said, although I didn't agree with the smack, but I understood. That's a Chris Rock.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I see both sides. I definitely don't think, me personally, I don't think that was the moment he should have used, just because number one, it overshadowed everything that he accomplished over the last year and a half. He did a lot of work to get King Richard on screen, and he played that role to a T. So I didn't want that to overshadow his moment, because everybody knew he was going to get the award, and it pretty much did. But two, um, I see the other side of that joke. You just don't do. Like, Chris Rock put out a statement today. I'm gonna pull it up, but he put out a statement and talked about uh, the incident and how that joke was in poor light and poor taste. Even though it's jokes, but and I think there's a lot of self deprecating that they do when it comes to like these superstars, these awesome actors. You see in the SBs where the host was deprecate on all of the stars, because everybody is coming to see them, and so a comedian's or a host's job will be to like make them look funny or whatever. But They're human.
It's usually in light though.
Yeah, it's
Not
usually
in
in like
dark.
it's like stuff that we all know. Yeah, yeah. And I don't, and to me personally, I don't think Chris Rock
Yeah,
knew
he did.
that
Yeah, he
she
did.
had that
Yeah, he
condition.
did.
He knew.
Yeah, I know. I bet he knew. He's gonna say he didn't know, and y'all can say that he knew that girl was bald because of that. Because that bald joke came to him before. He knew that's why. He knew.
Man,
Like
he
he
could.
didn't
He
just
took it
see
back
her
to.
there and
He
like,
took
oh
it back to
wow.
high school.
He was snapped.
He
He was
took it
doing.
back to high school. He cracked on her like he
He
said.
he
Nigga, that
roasted
was
on her.
light. He roasted. That's the thing. It was a roast. It wasn't like
And he
you know.
planned it though. And I think like he had a list of things that he was going to roast her on. And he said, I'm gonna get her with a
mm,
little bald self. I'm not gonna bring up the entanglement. I'm gonna
Stop.
get you know what I'm saying? Like he intentionally that's why he was like out of the dirty stuff I had on the list. Like I'm thinking that's like
You, so you said like he had a list of stuff he could have talked like entanglement. He could have talked about all of that, right?
if somebody roasts you for filth when you're not in the room,
Mm,
what do you think he had
imagine what it's
really
saying.
planned for her being
Oh
in the room? So I think like
man,
he decided he was probably thinking he took the high road because he took the number 10 joke. He said, I didn't even do my dirty one. Like that's probably why he was so like, you mad at that? Dang, you probably would have killed
oh
me if
my
you knew
goodness,
what my number one was. Like my number one was a singer, you know?
it was a stinger, right? So I can't find a statement, but pretty much he just said he apologized and everything like that, which is great. So he might have known. What y'all think out there? Y'all let us know in the comments. What y'all think? Did he know, or do you think he didn't know? He said he didn't know. So I'm gonna go with the man's word. But I think in all of this, it's funny
You're gonna go
how
on his word. That's why we in
I'm
this
gonna go over his
problem
word.
now because of his word. What are
His
you talking
word.
about?
So I think to tie this all up in a bow, I think see what the enemy meant for bad, God always meant for good, and we got a blessing and we got a word out of the Oscars. In your highest moments, be careful. That's when the devil comes for you. And that was a quote from Denzel Washington. In your highest moments, I feel like it was all worth it for this quote
It's so
from
funny.
Denzel.
My sister shared that quote when he said it, and I responded to her and I said, you know, what people often forget is that the devil, the enemy, oftentimes is in you, is your inner me,
It's an inner me.
is your inner me,
Come on.
and
Come on. Put word.
we lose sight,
Put that some word in the chat.
we lose sight of that. That sometimes we're always
Yeah.
thinking that it's the other person that we're looking
Right.
at who did them wrong, this, that, and the other. But a lot of that time it's the stuff that we have inside of us. Like they didn't put
Mm-hmm.
that in. We already had it. So the one we're fighting most is in here. Then before we fight somebody on the outside.
Yeah. And
So
it's so funny how we talk about wisdom. We talked about wisdom in our life class and everything. And that's so important because you gotta wisdom allows you to not be emotional in your decision making. Wisdom
hi.
allows you to stop and to think like, okay, now I'm on this stage. What should I do? I would have just maybe if he was already on the stage, you could walk past him and be like, hey, I'll see you backstage.
So the wisdom is lets you know that before I even come, I already feel away.
Mm,
So I do need to let somebody know, like, man, watch me just in case. Like, because it was so high up for him to
yeah.
respond like that, he had to be feeling the way before they even got there. That's what I was saying about the priming. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
he doesn't seem like I have not seen him publicly to be able to go from 0 to 60 that fast. That wasn't even 60
Will
seconds.
Todd. You know what?
You know what
Will
I'm
talked
saying?
about yeah, and he talked about that whole thing of playing a role in his life. Do you think that had an impact? Because I think we talked about this before. Like he had an interview where he talked about him playing a role his whole life, and he was just tired of it. He don't really feel like he was himself, and that's why I liken him in that moment to King Richard, because Mr. Richard would talk. He would let you have it if you came at his daughters. Like if you see the movie, that was a real. He talked to a reporter and was like, "Hey, look, no, don't ask her that question. She already answered it. Don't ask her that no more."
And you're saying
I
it
mean, he was
light.
in this man's face,
He went in for that dude.
and so even with Will talking about in the speech, he was like, King Richard would always defend his family
Right.
in the
Maybe that
moment. He didn't wait. He did it in
right.
the moment. So I'm thinking like maybe because at first you see Will laughing, and then it's like, oh, I see my wife, and she's kind of like upset.
I
Oh,
think
I
it
need to
registered.
step
I
up.
also think it registered too.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
The joke
oh,
too. Yeah.
is that
Oh, you
Shay?
joking about that? Oh, okay. I got you.
And he probably
Mm,
just immediately tapped into how she was feeling, like immediately.
yeah.
I mean, but I think you're right. Maybe that was definitely a lessons learned from playing this role.
Right.
And but it's been extended because beyond the movie, he still had been playing King Richard on the promo, like how he had been really rallying for all the women that
Mm-hmm.
were in the movie, for pay, making sure that they were
Right.
promoted, making sure they were seen. So that's still an
Yeah.
extension of his character that he was playing. So he
Yeah.
technically probably was still under the influence a little bit of the role,
Yeah.
because his normal personality previously has been more relaxed and laid back and respond from the back end, not in the front. And I think he probably seen like maybe, you know, um, this is an opportunity for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not gonna wait. Like, I've been letting too much slide, you know. Maybe in my marriage, maybe I should have defended
Right.
my vows. Maybe,
Right.
maybe I shouldn't have let stuff slide. Maybe I shouldn't have gave that permission. Maybe I shouldn't have been doing what I was doing. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe, you know what I'm saying? Like maybe we're in this position because I didn't stand up. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe those are certain, certain inner conflicts. I definitely think one of the things he did say about being dealt with, I'm always mindful when people say God, because you just don't know, what are you talking about? But but knowing people being like, when you're being challenged internally about your choices and what you're doing and how you're doing that, that definitely is
Right.
an opportunity, not only just for God the Father, the creator, the author, and the finisher, to make a change and bring some revelation into your life, but that's also an opportunity for the enemy to come as well.
That's a fact. And like you said, the enemy is really the inner you. If you
For
know
sure.
you, this is something that I always tell myself. If I know my tendencies, if I know my personality, if I know what ticks me off, I gotta put in place exercises and trigger points to say, okay, right here I need to breathe, or I need to walk away, or I need to take a moment. You know what I'm saying? Or I need to talk to somebody and let them know I'm about to go off. You know, and all the time, like we're not perfect by no means. So not all the time are you gonna catch it, but just the
No.
constant exercising of that, um, allows you to start to create new habits. So whereas you would just fight them automatically, you just yell, you know. And we are emotional beings, so we're gonna express emotions sometimes, but at the end of the day, you know, prayer, practice, and boundaries always are going to help save us from our inner self, if you will. So, praying, so it's the work and the faith, right? It's faith without works is dead. So, you got to pray, but also you got to work at it.
You do, and then also keep in mind, like especially with the life that we're striving to live every day, you also got to be mindful
Mm-hmm.
what you open yourself up into, because I think one of the things I also
Mm.
also remember that he said, I heard it, he said in the book because I haven't read it or autoed it yet because I'm an auto listen to the audio version, but
That's a
is that he
fact.
went to a witch doctor. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And you have to be really careful, like when you start dabbling into those different areas, especially because a lot of people have a quest for knowledge, but also just entering into those different realms, like it's real. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you just never know what gate you didn't open, what you've exposed yourself to, what's been attached to you. So praying is one thing, but then when you start getting other things attached, you got to add in a whole different layer of a fight in that type of warfare. Now you got to fast. Now you got to pray. You
Yeah.
probably got to link in some other warriors with you, to help you combat what's probably coming for you. So it's you got to be mindful, not what you do and how you do it, what you're introducing into your life, then also your surroundings. Like, who is your circle? Because we can't do this by ourselves. We have the
Right.
Father. So who's in your fellowship? Like, who's praying for you? Who are you praying
Mm.
for? And are they really praying, praying, or are they praying,
Woo.
preying?
Put that's a word in chat right now. Put that's a word in chat. That is a major key. You gotta know who's praying for you or who's praying on you. Like, oh my goodness, we that could be another episode right there, all by itself. So
It's crazy.
yeah, but we definitely want y'all to catch us on Wednesdays
Oh,
at
Wednesday,
7 p.m. Eastern. Um, is it 7 or 7:30? 7 o'clock, right?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock p.m. and we will be on Zoom. I'm actually gonna share the flyer.
And that's
So
where we've
we'll
been
be on
having our
Zoom.
discussions, right?
Right, we'll be having our discussion about wisdom. Is at 7:30 on Wednesday. A still youth life class, second, third, and fourth weeks. So we want you to come in and join us, and you can be a part of the discussion. So our Zoom is Zoom ID 703-953-2817. And you can just feel free to join, bring somebody with you, come on in, and let's just talk about the topic for the week. And also, feel free to join us on Sunday mornings at 9:30 a.m. For our worship service. Last worship service was amazing. I mean, Bishop really is diving deep into Elevate 2022, and we're enjoying every moment. So join us if you can, please, virtually and also in person. But
I
Pastor
was
Terry?
gonna no, I was gonna say, like, you know, I think our next episode, it'd be great for us to go live and you guys can like definitely comment on your
Yes.
take on what's happening, what we just talked about, and kind of let you guys kind of sound off because I know everybody's sitting with their own thoughts and feelings
I
and
know.
whatnot. So because I think it's stirring up stuff in us. You see
Yeah.
somebody react like that, so like you got some stuff in your inner me, and you seeing it play out in front of you. Now what?
Mm-hmm.
You
Yes.
know?
That's important to analyze what's in you. You seeing everything happen. Like, how do I feel about that? Like, what? How would I react to something like that? So guys, we want to hear from you. We want you to join us on all of our platforms. Please follow us at H20yth on Instagram, on Facebook. You can follow the page on my Facebook page and our group. Um, and Entr The Flow will be here for you is our podcast where we talk about pop culture. We're talking about music, pop culture, all of those things, and we're gonna give our perspective. We're gonna give our perspective of our life, and because we live on purpose, right? So, uh, so
Absolutely.
Pastor Terry, it was a pleasure to get out with you. I'm enjoying this. I can't wait to the next episode and talk more of pop culture and some great topics. This was
Yeah, I
fun.
look forward to hearing. I can't wait to hear what everyone has to say.
Yes, that's gonna be awesome. Like hearing the feedback and people's takes and stuff like that. So
All right,
I'm Pastor Harold,
Pastor Terry,
and we want
and
you to always remember
live
live
on
on
purpose.
purpose. Yes.